What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the CultureVerse podcast. We have a new movie review for you guys today. We all went and saw the brand new 28 Years Later horror film, very popular amongst the people right now. Very mixed reviews though. A lot of people have been going to see it. I've been seeing some high reviews, some low reviews, kind of all over the place. So, yeah, we're just gonna kind of dive into this one. It is the third installment in the franchise here. Danny Boyle's, I believe he's done all three. I know he did one and three. I
He
don't
didn't
know
do
if
the second one.
he didn't do the
No,
second one.
second one was made by a different person.
Gotcha. So back to Danny Boyle for this one. So
Thank
yeah,
God.
let's just kind of let's get into this. So if anybody has a point they want to bring up, they can go ahead and kick us off here for sure. I really don't. I mean, yeah, if anyone's got something.
Okay,
First,
oh, you want to go, Tyler? Go.
no, you.
Okay. I was gonna say this movie kind of happened to me in waves. I think this movie has I think it's every
High
act is
tide or low
so,
tide?
right now I'm feeling low tide, but but to me this movie kind of happened like each act felt very different, and that both lies in both my pros and my cons. To where I think that the movie feels sometimes a little too experimental, and or they had too many ingredients in the kitchen and a lot of things were happening and it just kind of came out weirdly. But I also really loved the final act. So my first point I wanted to make is I just thought that this movie kind of felt strange and what the direction they wanted to go in. Felt just like a lot of moving parts and then ended nicely for me. So that's kind of like the overview of mine. I guess I wonder how you guys felt about the sequencing of the movie.
Well, for starters, the if you big reason why I went to go see this movie is because the trailer goes absolutely crazy, and the trailer makes you believe that this is going to be some heart pounding thriller horror zombie movie, and I did not get that vibe at all. This was more like an up and coming movie with our main character Spike. Um, so I guess that is one of my. It's not really a con because I did enjoy this movie from start to finish. But that part alone was pretty uh not good in my end. Um, Caleb, what was your question?
But more just like the sequencing of the movie because I actually that's part of my review too is I think that this movie is portrayed way differently. I think the first act is more of a horror than I would argue, but I think the final act becomes like a horror folktale family drama kind of thing.
The
So
coming of age story.
yeah, and it kind of just that's why the sequencing to me feels so strange and how the movie plays out because the movie I think the first act and the third act are vastly different, like very strangely different. So that was kind of what you guys thought about that movement in the story.
No, it's definitely different. The first act definitely tries to give you that thriller horror aspect, but then
Mhm.
once they get back, everything just gets flipped on its head. Uh, but they still try to add some of that horror aspect with it. Uh, Especially when the alphas start running around naked. That's pretty scary. But yeah, I definitely agree that the way it just completely turns on its head at that moment is interesting. But Caleb, like you said, I also agree. The final act is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's a fair assessment there about the kind of being all over the place. Um, I'm going to say something that is seeming to disagree with most of the audience. I'm kind of over Danny Boyle's really weird and unique camera, like different angles. I hated the kills where we would do like those
Mm-hmm.
funny
Oh, that
angles.
kind of grew on me towards the end.
I
I
No,
hate,
it was so weird. It was
genuinely
so
hate. It was
if
it was
it
like a
if
2000s cringy action film. It was I like
it felt
literally
like
mad about it.
when you kill in Red Dead and it gives you that slow
Yes.
mo,
yeah.
except it wasn't slow mo. It was just really fast.
And it was
I
just
hated
so
it.
weird. It was just like, and
Yeah.
he just kept doing it. I was like, we don't need to do that every single time. It
Mm-mm.
was you did it once and it was kind of creative. And there were kind of a lot of shots in this movie that I kind of felt like that. And it reminded me a lot of the first one. A lot of those just really experimental camera angles and cameras like shots. And I just don't rock with that. I'm starting to learn that I probably don't love Danny Boyle as a director in terms of what I'm seeing. I mean, because he shows you some really good scenes in this movie. There are some beautiful visuals in this film. And then he goes to these really choppy, absurdly random cuts that just jump to like the night vision, just jumping to the night vision out of nowhere, or jumping to the animals flocking for some reason, like just absurd cuts that I was like, you're showing me you know how to do traditional filmmaking. Stop trying to get really creative because it just doesn't work for me. Like that's the thing that
Turn
most
off your brain and,
uh,
and
and
hit play.
that's something that a lot of people said that they love is like, man, Danny Boyle is just so creative. It's like creative is not always a good thing. Like
Hmm.
creativity can be overboard, and he's just kind of proven to me that he is overboard. I think everything he does is with the intent of let's do something we've never seen before, which that's not the worst idea. Like I like what he's thinking, but it's just overkill in like every way for me. It's just constant, just panning through different scenes to add a surprise, add element, and then just with the kill thing drove me crazy, and then just all the different random cuts. It just felt very strange, and often would like pull me out of a moment. I'd be like, we were just having a scene. Why am I now looking at like just something absurd? Like the cuts to like the old fashioned army that would be like shooting their arrows and stuff. Like I understood they were trying to like reference it, but it was just like not necessary.
Yeah,
Like
not at all.
it just all felt very experimental. Danny Boyle still feels to me like he's a college kid trying to make movies. And that sounds pretty brutal, but that's just how it feels to me. So you guys can give your take on that, but that's something that I know I seem to be against the audience in. But it also seems a lot of people just love Danny Boyle, which I don't know. I'm mixed on him right now.
Um, I kind of agree with most of what you were saying. The kill shots I actually hated a lot because it just threw me off. But the with the night vision, the red scenes, there was two of them. The first one I liked. The first one was good because it actually brought context to what happened with the when they find the deer head in the tree. That one was actually good and
I
interesting.
agree.
The other one was random. But what those two scenes both did is they brought intensity into a scene that I thought was lacking. So I that's what I enjoyed from it. But yeah, the shooting of the arrows from the random uh people was off. And when they go over the bridge the very first time and they start singing the poem or whatever you want to call it, which I thought was a great scene, except with all the random military stuff, uh, it felt off. But the poem itself is already brings enough intensity to the moment that it was all right from there. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, Gabe.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it took a while for me to get into it. It kind of started to grow on me. I won't say I like loved it. Like I'm like what's whatever with like you guys saying you disagree with it. I think it was interesting. And I guess it's I mean each of our own tastes. But like I said, I totally agree with the experimental. Like I think a lot of the what this movie is trying to do is throw a lot of different things at you, and I think that's the writing and the direction. Because I know Garland did the writing and Boyle did the direction. I think a lot of the writing is very like they didn't really know where to go, and they kind of like eventually got to a place. They were like, okay, it's kind of like a horror movie with the with Alfie and well, that's the actor's name, Spike and his dad, and then it flips obviously. But I think that some of the experimenting works and some of it doesn't, and that's kind of like the whole thing with this franchise, as far as I know. And I think that's for me, it worked more so. I don't really have anything to argue against you guys because, like, again, it works or it doesn't work for you. But definitely agree on the fact that it was experimental. I can't argue that at all.
Yeah, kind of talking about characters now. You kind of mentioned them. Another thing that I guess I'm starting to kind of give away my thoughts on this movie because here's
Mhm.
a complaint that I had. Aaron Taylor Johnson's kind of bait. He's in it for the first 30 minutes and then we don't see him again.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like he's just used to get you in there. And then just because in the middle of an insane apocalypse, by the way, he has one stupid drunk affair and his kid's like, I hate you. We're done. And then we just never see him again. And they end up like, obviously, spoilers ahead, obviously. They end up like choosing, like the mom's okay with just dying instead of saying goodbye to her husband. Like he said, you're gonna die soon, not in 4 seconds. And he's like, no, we're gonna put you down now. Like that's just insane to me. Like Aaron Taylor Johnson got a terrible ending, just horrible. His kid ran away and took his wife. His wife is now dead, and his kid literally did return and just dropped off a fucking baby in a shopping carrying cart and then ran off. Like they absolutely underdid his character in my opinion. And I know he's not like some great hero, but he's not a piece of shit. Like he did one stupid thing and it was dumb and it was bad. Yeah, sure, but he's not the villain of the movie. Like, why do we just completely write him off? And then vice versa, it almost feels like Ralph Fiennes is then worked in a way where we only get him in the last 30 minutes. Like, why did we not have Ralph and Taylor Johnson at the same time? How about we use our two biggest actors and let them act together instead of, well, here's Aaron in the first 30 minutes and here's Ralph in the last 30 minutes, and that's it. And there's just that middle part where you're watching this kind of like Tyler mentioned, you're watching the story that you just didn't expect to happen of him dragging his mom around and then meeting some dickhead blonde kid, the soldier. Like it just feels so not what I was there for at all. I'm just watching this, like Tyler said, family drama now without Aaron Taylor Johnson and without Ralph Fiennes. So I was quite upset with the use of our stars in this movie. I just didn't feel like they were stars. They didn't get their chance to do much, and that bothered me. But yeah, I'm talking a lot, so someone else can give their opinions on that one. But that was just very strange to me.
Like the mystery of having Kelson being like this mysterious outcast. Like I do get not using him as kind of a problem in itself, but I did like how that kind of played out. I think it was very interesting. Like, who is this character? Like, why is he here and all this stuff? I think that added some of the mystery. I did like that part of the story. I do think that Aaron Taylor Johnson's, I don't remember his name. What's his name in the movie?
Jamie.
Jamie. I think that just the way the movie progresses kind of is like forcing him out, which that does blow. I do like that. I didn't like that at all. But on like the Kelson part, I will more disagree with his part because I did like that fact that he was more of like a mystery.
I can agree
Towards
with
the end.
that, but so then why'd you cast Ralph Fiennes? Like way too big of an actor to just be like, if we're
True.
green, we'll get him at the end. You could have casted anybody
I think he
to
did great in his
that. No,
time.
he was.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I thought he was the best in the entire movie.
Oh, I
I
agree.
thought the acting performance was by far the best.
Yeah.
But because of that, it made me think, why did we only get him for the last 30 minutes? Like, if you're going to get an actor as good as Ralph Fiennes, he should be in it for more than 30 minutes. And if you wanted to have this mystery of Kelson, you shouldn't have casted some superstar and then hide him for the whole film. Like that just bothered me. I get what you're saying, Caleb, and like I agree the whole concept of this mystery was good. Like I liked how they were like, you need to stay away from him, he's crazy and whatnot. But it takes 70% of the movie to get to him, and it's Ralph Fiennes. Like that just threw me off absolutely. And the fact that once again, going back to Aaron Taylor Johnson, the fact that we just don't get those two ever together is crazy to me. Like that's just to me, that's just a misuse of your actor. More so for Aaron. I'll really double down on that one. Like I'll walk away from Fiennes as much. It's to me, it's just really disappointing because Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's grown on me. Like he is an enjoyable, he's a badass, like he's a cool actor. What a good film for him. And then he just becomes your plot device for why the kid takes his mom away. Like he just because he gets angry because he sees him cheating and he's like, we need to get out of here. Like he's so much more than just a plot device. Like I don't get why. Whatever.
Bro. I
So,
think I think they mostly that he didn't go with them because like I think he's built up to be like he's not going to try and help the mom is my thought process, but they don't really totally explain that. It's more of like a assumption I'm making, but that he didn't really want to help the
I
mom
think he wanted to
hear
help. I think
her.
he just knows it's cancer. He just
Yeah,
knows
but
there's nothing he can do.
yeah. So I wish they would have brought him at the end more. I'd
They
probably
could have.
disagree more about how they get to the story, but they definitely should have brought him in some capacity at the end rather than just running towards the
Mhm.
gate. Could have
That
been
was
cool for him to like escape and like that sets up the second part is how he's looking for him.
he's
I
out
mean,
there as well trying to
yeah.
find his
So I think
kid.
that could have been something interesting they could have done. But yeah,
I got two
Tyler.
things to say about this matter. For starters, my shocked face was me mishearing Gabe. I thought he was gonna dog on Aaron Taylor in this
Oh,
movie, but no, that didn't happen. But I agree completely with that take. Aaron Taylor Johnson is one of my biggest cons that he's not in this enough.
no.
He it's close between him and Ralph, but I think Aaron Taylor is my favorite character. But honestly, not upset with you guys picking Ralph here. Um, and I'm going to agree with Caleb when it comes to the whole mystery aspect and having this character at the end. Uh, the build up for that character was really well done. And then you add in Ralph Ineson as this amazing actor to portray this character at the end was a great choice, in my opinion. Plus, there's also supposed to be two other movies, so obviously I'm going off assumptions here. Assuming you get an actor like that who's still alive in this universe, that's probably still going to be alive. and have more role in these movies. But we'll see how that goes. And obviously, if we come back, I don't know, 10 years later, and
8 years later.
he's and he's not in these movies, and I'm wrong, then I'll just retire from the podcast. So yeah, I split both ways, but yeah, there's my takes on
Yeah, that's
those.
fair. Something else I want to bring up. When you guys say you loved the ending, did you mean all the stuff with Kelson, Spike, and Isla and how she died and how
Yes.
Yes,
okay, because the actual ending was fucking garbage, by the
with
way.
him, yeah, I
I saw
agree.
a tweet that said
Yeah,
they should have when he places the skull on top,
Horrific.
they should have ended it, and then that should have been a post credit scene.
I would have been like, that was the dumbest post-credit scene I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure that was one of the worst endings to a movie I've ever seen. Like I was feeling that last emotions, and then whatever the fuck happened, I was like,
are you
it,
talking about the group, or are you talking about with Spike staying?
the group showing up. The
Okay, so
absurd,
it was a complete
absurd.
180
There was
from
just
what we've been
flips and
watching,
shit.
but I thought it was kind of cool with all the shit
It's
they were
fun, but it
doing.
was stupid. I think it was
Fucking
fun,
It
hate
was,
stupid.
yeah,
I
fun,
genuinely
stupid.
hated it.
I
I
also
believe it.
hated the fact that Spike stayed. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it
Like
absolutely
he's gaining nothing from staying.
not at all. He's just like
Yeah,
he's just still. It's just like fuck my dad. I hate
Hmm.
like it's just stupid.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And now he's like the fact that he's just not scared anymore is kind of something I'm not fully buying into. He's just locking
Eh,
in. Like I just don't have
yes
faith
and
in this
no.
kid. He's 13 years old,
it's
like
Hawkeye.
12 years old. I just
I'm
don't have
curious.
faith in this
I'm
kid.
curious on how long it's been since he left the baby. Because I'm curious if it's more
Can't be
than.
long. I'm guessing it's probably like a week or two at max.
It could literally be a couple days. It could be the
Yeah,
same.
if that.
True.
We have no idea. Like they don't. Eh, they could have benefited from doing another one of those like 28
Same thing.
later
Same
kind of thing
thing.
and saying it's later, and then okay, maybe now I can understand that he bought into it more. But I don't know, dude. That ending just blew my mind. I was literally in awe. And the guy that did like the side flip, I was like, am I watching the same movie? Did this movie switch? It felt like the Naked Gun trailer. I was like, what is
That.
happening? I was like, why are they here? Why are
Yeah.
they dressed like this? Why are they acting like this?
They
And
were
then
doing some cool shit though.
well, then they tried to with the twist of the cross, like it's the guy from the beginning. And I was like, I don't give a shit. Like I
Yeah.
think that I was in awe. Like I
I,
know that I saw a lot. That is one thing I have seen people saying is that that is a ridiculous ending.
yeah.
I've seen multiple people who love the movie and they're like, however, what the hell was that ending? And I'm like,
Literally. Yeah.
It's
I
absurd.
saw
It
someone
would
say it
be.
was like Power Rangers.
It did feel like Power Rangers. You literally see a Power Ranger in that movie.
It was
And
the
then
jumpsuit gang.
they're also playing like the heavy metal Teletubbies song.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for is dressing up as
Yeah,
Teletubbies
Oh
like the
and
colors.
shit.
They were
Yeah.
all the right colors and everything. But
yeah.
mind blowing. Just
I'm I'm kind of excited to see Jack O'Connell in the next one though. I think that's going to be really great. It'll be just nice to see him in the movie. I
I'm
hope. I mean, I
not.
hope. I
I just
think.
don't give a shit about the character at
Yeah.
all.
I mean, fair. I need to see his
It's
character
so
more, but
stupid.
the fact that it's Jack O'Connell and the high he's right now, I'm just excited to see him in the movie.
It was just that ending blew my mind. I'm when you guys were both like, I love the ending. I was like,
No, no, it was more like stupid fun that I had
which
with that. But yeah,
ending? Well, you
yeah,
guys
no,
were both talking about the emotional
no,
stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. That I was tearing up. Like it's a very resonating theme with like the mom dying. I don't. It was not like a resonating theme, but just like the mom dying. Like that's a very sad moment. Like I don't. It had me good. And it was shot. The score there was really good.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
song
I
was
wrote
really
that
good.
down. The music or the synth. Is that what you call it, Caleb? The synth.
The
What's it
score,
called? Well, what's the it's not
soundtrack,
no, not music,
Like
but
the
it's yeah, the
electric
electric noise
synthesizer, the
and
synth,
whatnot.
oh, like the
synth.
Yeah.
synthesizer.
Yeah, that stuff was really good.
This is you know what? I'm just gonna get around the elephant in the room. I did not like this, and we're gonna disagree. Like that's just how this is gonna be. You guys are like saying this stuff, and I don't doubt you for it. Like I'm like whatever. I wasn't emotional. I wasn't sad. I was not having a good time. Which is kind of the thing with these movies is you either like Danny Boyle or you
Yeah,
don't. And I'm beginning to think I just don't like Danny Boyle because I like the first one. And this was the same thing. It had moments where I'll say that I was like, this is good. I like this. a lot of it, I was questioning the plot. I was really disliking the experimental camera work. I felt like we were lied to with a really good trailer that had me absolutely locked in, and the trailer did not do that, or the movie just did not do that for me. And then my complaints with the acting. Like I just had more issues with this than I wanted to. And that's why I'm kind of like getting it all out because like I'm glad you guys enjoyed it and you guys seem to agree pretty heavily, which is awesome. Like I'm glad you guys did enjoy it for sure. But
Thanks.
I just I was very disappointed by this movie. Like I've been trying to dance around saying that, but like I don't know, man. I just don't. If you guys have stuff you liked, bring it up because I don't have much to bring up here.
A lot of it we
Okay.
said is like a lot.
Well,
I think a lot of things like well, I in my entire review that I have here is a lot of my thoughts were like like I was like, this part kind of didn't work for me, but this part really worked for me. Like I think there are a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and I think that the third act really, I even say it serves as probably an entire star, if not more, of my score. Um, I just think it was really well done. Um, Kelson, the spike, that whole part was just incredible. I think that the editing worked for me more than it did for you guys. Like obviously that's gonna help me a little bit. And it was just nice to see. Like I think that 28 days later, I think is just like so interesting. It just looks like shit. So there's kind of that part that kind of held me that. And then 28 weeks is just I think dog shit. And then so this one's just kind of like a modern version. So it's just like it's a little bit better than what I thought the other two were. Well, the other one's way better than the second one, but I think it's a little bit better than the first one we get. But I don't think it's great by any means. I really do think that they had like a lot. That's the thing. They had so much time to work on this, and Danny Boy wanted to get his series back really, and he was like, "Well, what if we do this and we throw this idea, and then this act is so much different than this act, and there's just so much happening that they're like, well, shit, let's just make a trilogy out of it now." So it's like there's so much happening that I think they didn't really know what to do with one movie, and that's why it kind of I think is going to work or not work for some people, especially us here. So that's just how it kind of is. That's how I see it.
I will say, despite me enjoying uh, this movie did still disappoint me, especially considering the trailer and what I was expecting. Because nothing in that trailer says that this movie is going to be this heartfelt, warming story and whatnot.
Mhm.
And this movie also doesn't bring anything that the trailer has either when it comes to intensity and scariness and whatnot.
Mhm.
So there's that. But like with Caleb, I think the story is good and enjoyable, and uh, I did enjoy majority of the camera work outside of like the kill shots and stuff. So that's yeah.
like I said, I mean I don't want to.
No,
I'd rather you guys talk about what you like instead of me talking about what I dogged on because
I mean,
like that's just not fun, especially when I'm by myself. Like,
it's worth debate. I don't know if you want to. I don't want you to feel like you can't
there's
talk. I
I
just
don't
think
know.
that
I never once bought into the whole baby thing. I thought that was uninteresting, frankly. I didn't like it. I didn't like the infected just giving birth and
Yeah,
being
that's yeah.
I'm curious to see
so
how that goes in the
giving
next one.
birth. I
Hmm.
was so uninterested in that, her just being sent. And then like I'm I'm just gonna also this isn't really a why were there so many penises in this movie? Way too
The
many.
Dude, the alpha.
As
oh
a
my
as a
God,
review
dude,
said, more like
packing,
as a review said, more like 28 inches later.
dude. That
I don't
was
remember who said that, but someone said that. I was like, yeah,
I was
that's
sitting in the theater with my brother, and
absurd.
that scene on the subway happened, and me and my brother just do this.
Why? But I saw, and there's the scene where like the doctor shoots him like the first time, and there's a scene where like it's on the doctor, but you can just see it in the back, just watching you, bro.
I think the funniest part about that whole thing is I don't even know how old the actor for Spike is, but the fact that that kid is just having to stare at that guy during
Legal?
that scene is just even funnier to think
I don't
about.
like that's crazy. But like something I
Uh,
thought was like, why you could have put clothes on him. Like you chose not to.
Yeah.
Why? Bro, why did we do that? I like it's not really a con, but it kind of is at the same time where I was like,
it's definitely
I'm tired of
distracting.
seeing
It's
this.
definitely distracting.
Please stop showing me it. And that went for every zombie that was just bare ass naked. I was like, why don't they have clothes on? Like we shit on The Last of Us. At least the zombies are clothed.
No,
Like
even in 28 days, the first shot we see of Killian, he's butt ass naked.
like I get maybe like over time, yeah, they lost their clothes, sure, whatever. But like
You're talking about in 28 years, Caleb?
No, in 28 days when when we see Killian in the hospital, he's butt ass naked.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I it was that's just such a small thing I want to mention, but like I, I need to not see that was like Game of Thrones level. Just here's Hodor's cock again. Just ridiculous. But I don't
Photo?
know, man. Hodor. It was just it just did not work, man. Like Danny Boyle, I don't get me wrong. I'm glad people are enjoying it and think it's fun. Like Caleb said, when you were explaining it, Caleb, and at the end you were like, and that's why I think this is just for some people and why it's not for others. The whole time you were explaining that, I was like, what a dumbass concept. Like, it's just me. Because like the concept of not knowing how this movie's gonna go, so let's just make three of them and let's just throw shit together and try shit out. Like, who approved that? Like to me,
Yeah.
that's like you don't produce a movie just to try things. You produce a movie because you genuinely think it's really good. And I'm sure he thinks it's good, obviously. But it's the experimental side that I'm like, I don't want to go see a movie because it's experimental. I want to see a movie because it looks like it's going to be really good. And the trailer did that. The trailer looked like it didn't have the experimental stuff. It looked like it was going to be horror. And one thing that it did that really frustrated me, it absolutely painted the movie like there were going to be hybrid types of zombies. Like the
Hmm.
one on the back, that looked like
Oh
a
yeah.
giant zombie. It was just a normal dude. Or the one in the tunnel in the darkness. I thought that was some kind of like bloater type zombie. No, just another dude. And then there, I mean, there is the alpha. I'll give you that. At least that's something. Except it's just a taller, more muscular guy who's a little bit smarter. Like we should be doing more than just zombies that run around and scream. Like it's interesting when they evolve and they get bigger or stronger or way smarter. Like one of the best things I we ripped last season two.
We did more than that. We did more than that. We burned it.
We did, but the stalkers are horrific, genuinely terrifying. That is good horror. When you watch them and like you see them and the stalkers would run and hide behind something, you're like, I just shit down my leg. Like, and this movie wasn't that. It was just more zombies screaming and running, and the trailer painted it like it was going to be something different. And that just bothered me like none other. So I like I said, at this point, I mean, you said you want to know like what I was thinking as well, and that's just kind of where I'm at. The experimental stuff was the closest thing to an airball it could have been. I didn't absolutely hate every second of this movie. Like, it's not like I'm going to give this a half star. I'm not. But I was just like, I didn't have fun like I wanted to. The story wasn't what I wanted it to be. The actors didn't get the light I wanted them to have. Ralph Fiennes was by far the best part for me. Like not even close. The best part for me. Well, okay, him and Aaron. Aaron was great as well. Those two were like, I was so locked when those two were in. And everything in between there, I just didn't care. I don't care about Spike, frankly. Moving on in the series, I really don't. He could have had a bad ending and I wouldn't have cared. I had no emotional attachment to him other than feeling sympathy for losing his mother. That was about it. Like that was and I felt for the mom. The mom was in a horrible situation. Like she was not mentally okay. But then it just goes back to, okay, well, if I'm feeling bad for anybody, I feel bad for Jamie, the husband, because he just gets absolutely shit on. Like, so this movie just didn't, it just did not, I don't know what the word is. It
Didn't
grinded
hit.
my gears. No, it didn't hit. And like I
Grind my
said, like
gears.
I said this like 8 times now, but I'm gonna say it again because like that's how I am with these movies. Like I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Like seriously, I'm happy you guys had a good time because like I didn't want to come on this podcast and rip it and have everybody else rip it and be like, well, that sucked. I'm glad we just reviewed a shit movie. Like I don't want that to happen. And we were hyped for this. Like the trailer looked good. So I am glad you guys liked it. I just hope you guys aren't like getting the pitchforks ready to kill me because I did not have a good time with this film. So
I'm,
yeah, go on. Sorry.
I mean, I agree with a good amount of your problems. I just obviously me and Caleb are just taking the story and what we're given and looking at it in a more positive light, which that just happens with movies. It just
Yeah.
happens.
It
Uh,
just resonated. You guys just enjoyed it more, which is that. I
Mhm.
mean, Caleb, it's like when you and I watched The Gorge. You guys just enjoyed the good things more than I did, and I disliked the bad things more than you did. So
Mhm.
ultimately, obviously, that's
yeah.
going to outweigh pretty heavily, which is unfortunate. But
Yeah.
here
One
we
thing I
are.
wanted to point out before we kind of ended it up here is that when the Alpha was chasing them on the low tide bridge, you know, when it's like they're chasing across at night. That scene was so. I was actually. I thought that scene was amazing. When they're trying to get back to the base.
I couldn't stop myself from laughing though whenever
The-
they
the- when he was
panned at
like,
the.
but it was really intense. I thought I was feeling the intensity of that. I thought the scene was great.
I would have felt the intensity if they once again here I am again. If they didn't switch the shot every 4 seconds to a different angle and a different really close up and far away and close up and I was like, I'm going to get motion sickness and throw up if you keep changing. Like
It's
I
like
agree.
watching a Nolan movie.
Kind of, yes. I like I agree, Kill. The premise was super intense. It just didn't land for me as well as I had hoped because I was like, stop cutting. Just let me watch them run. Like I don't need you to show me 17 different angles. I just want to see them get chased. Like
We needed an in the Lost Lands moment.
Land of the Lost.
oh,
God,
crazy.
I hope I get
What
it.
a reference. What a
I
pull.
hope I get it.
I won't pull. That's insane. But I, it wasn't a bad. I didn't hate the scene. It was intense. It was intense for sure. And I liked the fire spear getting shot through, and that was
That's cool.
cool. That was nice. Like that was interesting for sure. But that, like I said, just the experimental cutting was just. I was about to throw hands with Danny.
Okay, before we do our summaries, I got one more thing I wanted to point out. When they are in the field in towards the end with the mom, and she's having her hallucinations and whatnot, and that guy appears behind her, I'm like 90% sure that Cillian Murphy's character is going to be her granddad. Because,
I don't think
well, obviously,
the
what?
timing would the timing work out?
Probably.
28 years. She's already like 45.
She's not 45.
She's probably like 40.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think it's she could be her. I think he could be her dad at best.
Whether or not that's
Mm.
what it is, I do think the person behind her is her husband because she's talking about when she came here with him. They talked
She
about
was talking about she came here with somebody to see the angel. I think whoever that is Cillian Murphy. Because they wouldn't show the guy's head. They just showed a dude standing
right.
behind her with his hand on her shoulder, and there was no head.
I, I definitely am going to buy into there could be something more there. I don't know if it's Cillian's
It's
I don't.
too.
I don't think
It's
it. I don't think the timing would line up.
maybe not granddad, but dad.
could be dad. They talk about how her dad but didn't they say her dad died?
I don't. Maybe
I don't remember.
I mean, if the outbreak started 28 years ago, and she's like, we'll say she's 40 at best. She's 12 when it
I don't think
started.
she's 40. I don't think she would be 40.
She would be. She would have been.
She's got to be older than 30. Has to be.
Yeah.
That's
I don't think it works unless
I
he had her. Unless he had her before the outbreak started and then like
Mm.
ran away. I don't know.
Cotton, who was in the hospital and didn't really remember.
Yeah.
He
So,
never really talked
you
about
know,
it.
he has like a coma because he gets on a bike. But
I
like
mean,
we don't even talk about. I guess maybe it could be like your dad.
the kid.
Yeah, I suppose it's
You heard the
The kid
daughter
is 12.
possible.
Spike? You're talking about Spike?
No, I'm talking about.
talking about Cillian's character in the first one.
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't
How
think
old
he.
he would
I
have
don't.
been would have had a kid at the time. Because if he's her dad, maybe that could be it. Maybe he's her dad. But I could have sworn they said something about
I just feel like that would be the logistics are weird there.
well, but Tyler does make a good point. Like, why wouldn't they have just shown the face?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Or why would they have anybody there to begin with? Like, it's
But
just
just to show she's hallucinating, I guess. But who's the person? I was under the impression that it was just her husband, and she
me
was
too.
telling the time that they went back there. But
I guess it could be.
I'm more than because she kept talking about her because she
Just
kept
for
calling Spike her granddad or whatever. Or no,
She
or
she kept
dad.
calling him dad.
Yeah, dad. And she was talking about how remember when you brought me to the angel? So I
Yeah.
think it's his
I
dad.
guess it's possible.
Yeah, that's worth at least
Yeah,
looking at.
yeah, I'm him. Yeah, I take notes of these things. So
I'm definitely curious why they didn't. But then again,
when it happens, I'm just gonna look at you guys in the theater and be like, I did that.
it'll make no sense. But she'll be like, my grandfather, and he's gonna be like, I told you, his grandfather. It's gonna make no sense. Like it doesn't line up at all.
He's
Great
negative
grandfather.
12 when they had him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nowadays in the virus,
Makes you forget.
Uh,
All right. Well, we can get into the overall reviews. I'll go last so we can end on a
I'll go last.
Why? Okay, fine, go.
I don't want to go
Power, you
first.
go.
Okay. Well, as you guys know, this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, mainly because the trailer goes absolutely crazy. But that is also a big problem with this movie is that this trailer doesn't exactly say or show what this movie is going to be about. This movie's not very scary or intense or anything like that, but it does have a pretty decent story. The camera work is pretty good from what I saw, outside of a couple of shots that were kind of wacky. But this was a little underperforming when it comes to my standards of what I was expecting, because this was pretty high on my expectation list. So I gave this a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this now. I have actually probably been more positive than I am in my actual written review. So take that with a grain of salt because I say in my review, I say, if you haven't caught my drift, I feel a little conflicted with where to land with this movie. I had a solid time and I have a lot of changing thoughts about this movie, similar to how I felt with like Bring Her Back when I finished that movie. I like the human element, and I thought the third act was really good, and it raised the score for me. I think this is the best of the 28 series, but the experimental and the lack of direction with this movie kind of held it back for me. I did also give it a 3.5. I thought it was good. Just a little bit of a step up on the first one with the modernization of it.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately starting to realize that I might just not be a big fan of Danny Boyle's movies. I didn't really enjoy the first one, and here we are again, where I've not loved the really experimental choices with the camera work, the quick cutting, and all of the stuff in between. It's just kind of thrown me off and really taken me out of the moments. This trailer for this movie was super, super well done, and unfortunately, it was super, super misleading. The story just did not line up with the trailer, and that really, really took me out. It just I did not resonate with the story as much as I had hoped. However, there were moments in this film that did redeem it to an extent. So I'm not going to just absolutely destroy this movie. So I'm sitting at a 2 out of 5. I almost went 1.5, but it did get the two.
Ah.
So it gets the. I looked at the other movies I've rated this year and I was like, it is better
That has happened with me many times when I've gone to ranking movies.
it's definitely better than Love Hurts. So
I'll
I was
take
like,
it.
yeah, I was like,
Worse
yeah,
than Minecraft, though.
yes. I
No.
had way better time. Danny Boyles is hitting the Will Levis right now.
I was before we got on, I was on Max looking for something to watch while I eat, and Minecraft movie
Oh
is
yeah, it's just
on.
got on there. Yeah.
And
I'm watching it tonight.
the little description underneath when you hover over it, it says like avoid creepers and stay away from the chicken jockeys. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Jesus.
Dude, that's what
Oh
I'm
my
turning on to go to
god.
bed tonight, baby. Let's
Please tell me
go.
you're joking.
First we mine, then we
He's gonna
craft.
drop a diabolical 5 star tonight.
I shall know her.
So I just got done watching this movie, guys.
Life changing second rewatch.
On rewatch, I actually caught a lot more
This
things.
might be one of the most rewatchable movies I've ever seen.
You say that kiddingly, but it actually might be one of the most
No,
rewatchable.
no.
It was funny.
It might get worse on
I'll let you
rewatch.
guys know in about 3 hours.
Wait until every time we hang out and we just watch a horror movie, this is the movie we turn on now.
No.
It's the new Lorax. That's good.
God damn
All
it.
right. Well, let us know in the comments if you guys agreed or disagreed with some of our points, or if you have some of your own points you wanted to bring up. As always, though, we really appreciate you guys listening to the episode. Make sure you guys stay in touch with our social media platforms as we'll be posting more stuff. There are a lot of big movies coming out in the next month or so. Some really, really big ones that we will be all over in terms of covering. We got Superman coming out, Tyler. We
Jurassic
got
Park first.
Jurassic World, actually.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
But as always, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you in the next episode.